My name is Rachel Levinson, and I'm really excited to be here because my guest today is the one and only Shannon Waller.
Hi, Rachel. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Going back to those passions that aren't a unique ability, that it's not a high competency skill for you. Sometimes those passions that are just hobbies perhaps, and you may not end up making a living off those passions, but they do bring you alive. They do give you that sense of joy and fulfillment that our passions do. By engaging in them and exploring them, it might lead to your true passion that's tied into also your unique ability.
I think that's a fabulous point because there's a bit of a through line when you can get a bead on your passion. There's something about what you're doing and how you're doing it that just brings you to life. So even before you have the skills, all of us have a potential unique ability when we're little, but we don't know very much. So we have to get skilled, we train ourselves, we gain experience, we gain knowledge. So you might be educating your passion, which is kind of a neat way to think about it. But I love that idea of kind of starting with your passion and then building your skill set around that to see whether or not it's something you can develop into something even bigger that has more impact and creates even more value. I mean, that's not an approach we tend to start with at Strategic Coach, but I think I might just add that in there. I really like that.
Yay! And even those passions that indirectly, lead to discovering your skill set, even if it's not directly. So, for example, you bring up the examples of if you love sports, but let's say you just don't have what it takes. You don't have the skills to be an NBA pro basketball player. But maybe, it's something in that world that you love that brings you alive, and you have a skill to teach or to coach.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe you're a brilliant number cruncher, and maybe you're trained as an accountant or something like that, and you may be highly skilled at it but don't love it, and you have a passion for basketball. Well, maybe you end up being a basketball statistician, or figuring out in terms of the hiring process, and how you can contribute to that. There's some pretty fascinating ways how those things can come together. But if you don't, I just love what you said, because if you don't pay attention to your passion or don't fulfill it in some way, you'll never go there. You'll never come up with the creative ideas for how could you mesh this. And what I know is that when people are in those situations where they're really passionate, first of all, to take sports as an example, we are willing to pay people a lot of money to watch them work in their unique ability. Think about anyone in entertainment, sports, which is also another form of entertainment. We plunk down lots of our hard-earned money to watch people work at what they're best at and most love to do. And what I know is that when you're fulfilling that, when you're going into your passion, new things will bubble up. You'll put things together that you wouldn't have otherwise. So I think it's such an important, I think people can get disconnected from their passion. So when you connect with it in any way, shape, or form, I find that it tends to create new opportunities. So again, I think pursuing that passion and being willing to make the commitment and have the courage to do it, even if you're terrible at the beginning, even if you have no idea what you're doing, makes complete sense, because that investment will always be maximized.
It's amazing how everything interconnects, and that's part of why I love unique ability so much, because it really sees your passion in that way, where if you just start engaging and start having that conversation with yourself and understanding yourself and exploring, and curiosity is such a big part of that as well. You never know where that will lead, even if you don't have a clear definition today of what your unique ability is, what your superior skill is, what your passion is, and how to leverage that into your life and into your career. So I love that whole conversation that we're having.